Let's start with something quietly uncomfortable. Nearly 6 out of 10 employees globally say they've felt like an imposter at work. In one UK survey, 62% of adults reported imposter feelings in the last year, and across Europe, 63% of workers say they've had these feelings on the job. Here in North America, the numbers are even higher. About 71% of professionals report experiencing imposter feelings at work, and it doesn't disappear with seniority. About 71% of US CEOs report experiencing imposter symptoms in their roles. When we break it down further in the US, younger adults are particularly affected. Nearly half of workers aged 18-24 report feeling like an imposter on the job. Research has also shown that imposter feelings tend to be more common among women in professional settings, especially in leadership roles, where some studies find upwards of 3/4 of women executives have experienced these doubts. So if you're sitting in meetings thinking, they've overestimated me, I don't really belong here, I'm just lucky. Statistically speaking, you're surrounded by people thinking the same thing. The problem isn't that this feeling exists. The problem is what happens when you quietly believe it. Hi, I'm Ryan from Workday Wisdom, where everyday work problems are explained using old ideas, modern psychology, and experiments you can actually try tomorrow. In this episode, we'll do 3 things. Look at what philosophy might call that "I'm a fraud" feeling. See what psychology actually calls this experience. And what research shows helps. Walk through 3 small, repeatable practices you can use over the next 30 days. This isn't about eliminating imposter feelings. It's about changing your relationship with them. Let's step into a moment many people recognize instantly. You're a quieter high performer on your team. You prepare more than most admit. You double-check your work. You stay late the night before the big meeting, not because anyone asked you to, but because you care. The presentation goes well. Your manager says, "That was excellent." A colleague messages you, "You nailed it." Out loud, you say, "Thanks." Inside, something else starts running. They didn't see the parts I rushed. Anyone could have done this. I just got lucky this time. And then the deeper fear. Now they expect this version of me every time. Next time, they'll finally see I'm not actually that good. That's the emotional core of imposter feelings. Not just low confidence, but the sense that your current reputation rests on a misunderstanding you must constantly defend. Philosophy doesn't diagnose imposter syndrome, but it does talk a lot about the tension between who we seem to be and who we feel we are. Existentialist Jean-Paul Sartre used the idea of bad faith, the stories we tell ourselves that hide our own freedom and responsibility. Usually, bad faith looks like hiding behind a role, a title, or other people's expectations to avoid the anxiety of owning your choices. With imposter feelings, something similar happens in reverse. Instead of acknowledging your efforts and choices, you tell yourself, "I'm not really the one who did this. It was luck, timing, or other people." You erase your own role, not because you're modest, but because if you admit you did this on purpose, you also admit you're capable of doing difficult things again. From an existential lens, that fraud story isn't humility. It's a story that shrinks your own agency by pretending you're just an accident that hasn't been corrected yet. Quick pause. This part matters if you manage people or ever plan to. Most managers don't cause imposter syndrome. They accidentally manufacture it. Here's how. You praise outcomes, but stay silent about process. You reward confidence, but don't name preparation. You assume high performers already know they're doing well. For quieter employees, silence isn't neutral. It feels like risk. If you want imposter feelings to shrink, don't just say, "Great job." Say what you saw them do that made it great. Specific recognition doesn't inflate egos. It anchors reality. Psychology gives this a precise name, the imposter phenomenon, feeling like a fraud despite strong evidence of competence. Research shows it's especially common among high achievers and people in contexts where they feel like one of a few, by gender, race, age, or background. That means the system around you can intensify imposter feelings. It's not just a personal flaw. So what actually helps? First, psychoeducation. Simply learning what it is, how common it is, and what it typically sounds like can reduce shame and shift it from identity to experience. Second, Cognitive restructuring, identifying and challenging thoughts like, "It was just luck," and replacing them with statements tied to real evidence. Third, group and mentoring spaces. When people hear peers and leaders describe their own imposter feelings, the sense of being uniquely broken drops, and shared understanding makes trying different behaviors easier. At scale, imposter feelings aren't just personal, they're often a system signal. They spike in environments with high ambiguity, high visibility, and uneven feedback, especially where certainty is rewarded over learning. When many capable people feel like frauds, it's rarely coincidence. It's information. Healthy systems don't eliminate doubt. They prevent doubt from turning into silence, overwork, and burnout. Now, 3 experiments you can try over the next 30 days, especially if you're someone who tends to downplay your own work. Experiment 1, evidence log, not feelings log. At the end of each day, write down 3 concrete things you did that contributed to a positive result, not how confident you felt, not whether it was perfect, just observable actions. Over time, this builds a counterfile to "I never do enough" and "It was just luck." Experiment 2, name all the ingredients. When your brain says, "That was just luck," pause. Yes, timing helped. Yes, others contributed, and you prepared and followed through. Practice saying, "This success had many ingredients, and I'm one of them." This isn't vanity, it's accuracy. Experiment 3, 1 safe confession. Choose a trusted person, a mentor, peer, or friend, and share 1 sentence. "Sometimes I feel like I'm faking it, even when things go well." You're not asking for reassurance. You're testing a hypothesis. If I admit this, will I be rejected? Or will I hear, "Me too"? Most people respond with recognition, not judgment. If you're a manager or senior leader, here's 1 immediate move that helps. Publicly name how work gets done, not just who succeeded, in meetings, in reviews, in retrospectives. When people hear that good work involves iteration, uncertainty, and learning, they stop assuming everyone else has it figured out. Transparency is a confidence multiplier. Here's the thing. Feeling like an imposter doesn't mean you are one. It means there's a gap between your story and your evidence. And both philosophy and psychology say that gap is workable, not a verdict. If this episode helped you feel a little less alone in your imposter feelings, hit like so it reaches more people who need to hear they're not broken. And if a quietly brilliant colleague came to mind, share this with them. This is Workday Wisdom, practical wisdom for modern work, explained with old ideas and new research. In next episode, we will look at nepotism, what philosophy warns about, what psychology shows, and how to act when it is real. Until then, keep your evidence close, keep your story honest, and remember, you're allowed to grow without calling your past self a fraud. This is Ryan from Workday Wisdom signing off for now. I'll see you in the next episode. Have a wonderful week ahead.